Alright, dudes. Hope you're all doing well. I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and that's react to Framewhisperer's video on Brian. I'm not gonna react to the whole thing. Um, it's an entertaining video to me, but it's a little bit long-winded, and I really only want to get to like the points of the video. It's also pretty satirical. Like some of the stuff he's saying is just like clearly he's playing it way up. So I don't know if I'm going to be treating him unfairly in some ways here, but I think some the stuff that I picked to focus on, because I'm not watching the whole video. There's a part where he's like shitting on a Swedish kid who hates Justin Bieber. Pretty entertaining, little Swede on Swede violence. I'm down, no problem there. But sometimes he takes a little while to explain things, so we're just gonna focus on a few key points and see how that shit goes. As the resident, well, not the resident, because there's a shitload of Brian players, but fuck it, okay? I want to do a video about it, so I'm gonna do a video about it. Appraisal of Hatchet Kick. All right, this is the one thing that I would say is a little absurd. The way that he, like, in terms of the thing that I'm going to react to, this is a lot of things that are absurd on purpose, but this one I kind of want to include.
Offenders. The hatchet kick, I think this is probably the best low in the entire game by a margin. If I had to describe what this move does for you, it's basically teleport across the entire screen, get a giant chunk of advantage, deal a lot of damage, and go into a position where you will apply an inescapable vortex of constant plus frames until you inevitably win the round. So
I had to include that in. I think that's obvious. That has to be said. He can't actually mean that, but that is one of the best lows in the game, absolutely. I think while you see like Devil Jin or Kazuya having Hell Sweep, I don't think that you can put it quite in that category, but it's up there. It's up there. But the inescapable 50-50 vortex or whatever, nah, bro. Listen, man, his frames don't work that way. I'm sorry. I know that one was petty because he was just it's satirical. It's not totally, obviously he can't possibly mean that legit. But I still had to include it in there. It was ridiculous enough that I wanted to have it in the video. So moving on to actual genuine problems. Okay, so this is elbow, and I'm going to include 3+4, even though I don't think he's talking about 3+4 here. But it's a similar issue.
Back one is another great example. Both of these moves can, like, theoretically...
A great example of continued pressure, I believe he's talking about.
Be walked around, and I do it sometimes. Everybody does it sometimes, but it's one of those things where it's not a consistent enough strategy to counter these moves that you can really rely on it to survive. And in any situation where you would have successfully dealt with one of these moves, he could just do the thing that kills you if you try and do that.
Okay, so with back one specifically, you can walk that, yeah, but you can also just barely sidestep at all and sidestep block, and that shit will whiff. If you time it right, that shit will whiff for you doing a very safe thing, and that shit does whiff, and he gets blown up for that shit at a high level. Even at not that high level, it happens sometimes, but like at high level, like that doing that stuff is pretty dangerous actually. Trying to assault with your pressure is pretty dangerous. Hatchet. Not really. Hatchet is just a thing you can do, and they can kind of timing read it sometimes. So I agree that low is like fucked up. But like back one, 3+4. Not forward 4. We'll get into something about forward 4 later, but like two of those moves that he has to use, like you can just barely step those and they'll whiff, and then you blow them up, man. People have moves that are steppable like that, but they have like less recovery. That shit, you like sayonara. You see, go to the stars, my man. You're getting launched. But let's move on to the part that I found pretty entertaining, actually. It's not even like he said anything that crazy, but I just thought it was a pretty funny thing to pick on here. All right, let me see it. Where is it at? All right, it's actually like right up here. Here we go.
The move that I hate the most, that I have the biggest problem with, is this 1+2. And the reason for that is, like I said earlier, when you're playing against a rushdown in this game, if you're playing against, something like a Law, someone who's just pounding you with pressure, there are usually openings for you to slip under or out to the side or backdash out. For example, Zafina's Scarecrow mix-up or dive kick pressure from Elisa, you can backdash out. The fact that Brian can go to this mid right here, safe on block homing. It doesn't have like a lot of damage unless you do the extensions, which exist and are pretty good, honestly, because you can mix them. But it's just that thing where, okay, he does this, you block it, he has plus frames, you try and move, and he locks you down. He does.
Okay, so I understand why he's saying this. I get it. He doesn't like that it exists as a tool to lock down. The problem is that Brian's plus frames are not so great that move can't get mashed out of by a lot of characters. It mixes up. It's not a bad move. I just think it's funny that he's picking on that move, which has a relatively low value attached to it. If you get like a counter hit on one of the extensions, it has a big value. But just if you block, that doesn't happen. Which a lot of high-level players are going to be, like, blocking a lot. a lot. The reason I find it funny, though, is not so much because his complaint is invalid, but because I don't think he mentions mach kick once in this video. And mach kick is the fucked shit. Mach kick is one of the most fucked up tools Brian has. And I don't think he talks about it. Like, we're not going over the whole video. I've watched the whole thing. I'll probably put a link in the description. And if I just missed it, then, let me know. But mach kick is like a high value move that you can do after your plus frames that will evade a lot of moves that other people do. It'll do it in the open. But if you have plus frames and you just do it after that and they're mashing, it'll evade. You'll get like half a bar of damage. You'll get like almost 3/4 of a bar of damage if you have a wall. And then you get to do a taunt setup. Like, what the fuck? Why is mach kick not in this video, but 1+2 is in this video? I don't understand, man. But you dropped the ball on that one, dipshit. Well, you're not okay, relax. It's not dipshit, but I just wanted to say dipshit. You dropped the ball on that one, Mr. Whisperer. Like, if you want to talk about how fucked up Brian is, you got to talk about mach kick a little bit more. All right, moving on.
And he
isn't. Here we go.
He definitely isn't. Is the fact that you have the taunt.
Oh, he's talking about. All right, hold on. I'll go back a little bit farther.
I think the reason people talk about Brian as being an advanced character, and he isn't. He definitely isn't.
I'll listen. I'll give him that one. Okay. I don't think he's that hard. People say that he's hard. I don't agree. He's got so much high damage shit that it's probably not. But this reasoning to me is pretty funny.
Is the fact that you have the taunt jet upper, and the taunt jet upper is an extremely difficult technique to pull off. Don't get me wrong. This is extremely difficult to do. Thing is, right, it's difficult enough to do that it's not a viable strategy in a competitive game. And if you attempt it over and over, you might eventually get one. And you can put that in a clip and you can send it to a clip channel or upload it to your own and go, look, I did a taunt jet upper in a match. And it's going to feel really cool and good. But I think there should be a law that says if you want to upload a clip of you getting taunt jet upper, you have to upload all of the attempts that failed before you got it.
I would like
Basically,
that,
my point is that it gets to a point where this technique is difficult enough that you shouldn't do it. And turns out that Brian players actually don't. If you go and...
Okay, that's the key part. I don't know what Brian players you're playing Framewhisperer, but even the ones that I know, Taunted Upper is actually not that hard. I know because I can do it somewhat consistently. In my opinion, if you can do it about 50%, then you should go for it. It's worth the damage. Sometimes you get one hit rounds, basically. Who wouldn't want that? But even the people that can't do that shit, I don't know what Brian players you're playing, bro. They're doing that crap all the time. Okay, you're seeing a sea of back twos and 2 jabs after the taunts. You know what that is. If that's 100% a failed taunt jet upper every single time. And every Brian player that I play, I see that shit. Well, not everyone. There are some that don't get me wrong. But dude, I don't know who you're playing, man, but there's so many people that try to do that shit that maybe I don't know if they've ever landed one in their life. You know? But yeah, those were my main. The mach kick was like the biggest to me. The biggest grievous error in this video was just not seeing any mention of that move. That move is like crazy fucked up. Taunted upper. I mean, like people are trying to throw those things out like it's fucking like Black Friday or whatever. You know, like TVs for everybody. Taunted uppers for everybody. Most Brian players I know are like that, especially even beneath like ruler ranks. If we're just talking the online sphere, there's a lot of people going for that shit all the time. You know. Anyway, this video, like I said, like I think most of his video is satire. I kind of like picked on a couple of points that I think were relatively genuine, but it's really hard to tell. So if this entire video was just like taking the piss and not being serious at all, but real like genuinely not liking the character, you know, whatever. I don't hate this guy. I actually watch his content a fair bit. I think he's a pretty funny guy. So you know, so go check him out when you have the time. Good dude, I think. Not that I put him personally, but god damn, man, like some of the omissions in this video. Play fucking Brian. Play Brian, please. Play him, and then do this video again, or don't. And then do another video like this, and then I'll shit on it some more. But anyway, that's all I got, guys. Peace.